Sleeves through the Senior Pickleball Report powered by TNC Network. Let's get it going. Today in our People of Pickleball episode, we speak with the Picklehood founder, Trisha Shelley, creating amazing things here in New Mexico, pickleball apparel. Check out the hat. I have a shirt on in the interview, which you can check out as well. Great conversation. She's a fabulous person and so fun to talk to. So hang around for that. If you like this content, consider subscribing to the channel. Check out all the links in the descriptions for discounts. Check out our newsletter and our new website. All that in the description. All right, let's get to that conversation with Trisha.
All right, we have Trisha Shelley from the Picklehood. Welcome to the Senior Pickleball Report, Trisha.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know, I haven't counted, but I'm guessing 50, 60, 70 interviews. And I think you're the first one that is based in New Mexico. So yay, finally somebody from the state I live in.
Yes, I love New Mexico. Born and raised, not born and raised. Dang it. We moved here in 4th grade and been here since pretty much.
That's a long time.
Yeah.
For sure. I got here in my 40s, so I've been here in this general area since about 2010 off and on. So, and then permanently since in the area I live in since 2014. But great to have you. As always, I always start with how this goofy, silly wiffle ball game sort of came into your world, and then we'll get into what you've done beyond that. But tell us how pickleball found you first.
Yeah, so we were in school. My husband was in school, and he started disappearing on the weekends, like for hours, and he'd come back just like drenched in sweat, saying he played pickleball. And I was like, pickleball? Are you serious? Like, you're coming back looking like this? Like, what the heck is going on? And then, so he was like insistent that he teach me. And I don't know if your spouse has ever taught you anything, but when you're a little bit competitive and you're playing with your spouse and they're a lot better than you, it just did not go well the first time for me. Luckily I had some friends, the wives of these students all formed a rebellion and said, hey, we get half the Saturdays to go play pickleball. And so we ended up playing pickleball, and that's where I kind of fell in love with it. It was in St. Louis when we were in school. Yeah, so that's kind of how it started. But again, I'm a mom. I have 2 kids. They've the youngest one just barely went into kindergarten, but at the time it was really hard for me to get to the courts. So I've had a little bit of a frustrating experience wanting to be as good as I could be, because you grow so fast in pickleball. So that's been a little bit of a challenge getting to the courts as much as I want to, but have formed a great love. Would you like me to talk a little bit more about how much I love pickleball and why, based off of a couple things?
Well, absolutely. I mean, you're lucky though. I mean, my wife is one of those people that she'll play pickleball once a month, and I'm a good athlete, but my wife is a great athlete. So my wife just walks in and goes, "Oh, I haven't played in 6 weeks," and then you're like, "You're losing." You're like, "Oh, I just love how you can just randomly show up and just take me to the woodshed, so to speak." But
Oh, I feel like my husband's like that. I'm pretty athletic, but it's just like, why are you so good at everything? Kind of not fair.
yeah, exactly. No, so continue. Like, obviously this game is really especially since COVID, it's been around since the mid 1960s, but my wife taught PE. She taught it like, 20, 25 years ago. And I remember hearing about pickleball and going, oh, wow, this sounds interesting. And she only started really teaching it because kids just couldn't keep a tennis ball in play. So she introduced this game where the ball was a little more, obviously not as, full with air and flying over fences. But when I got introduced to it, I was like, this is really cool. Not only from, like you mentioned, getting into it, and it's a pretty easy entry level sport. You can get good pretty quick, but really the people.
Yeah.
I like the community of it. I think maybe as much as I like playing it.
Yeah. So for me, we had moved shortly after that to a small community in Carlsbad, New Mexico. And there's really not much going on over there but pickleball. Um, so at least for us, and we were
Yeah.
looking for a community, and it was amazing just to be welcomed in. But so I come from a background of going to school for exercise and wellness because I loved movement and just
Yeah.
well the wellness side of everything. And so pickleball really tickled that part of me.
Yeah.
Being able to play with my kids and they get their coordination, and then
Right.
you're playing with you can go to the pickleball court and you're playing with young people and you're playing with people that are retired like way I don't know all levels
Yeah.
of life and all professions. Like you could be
Right.
like doctors playing next to like people who build houses and oil field workers,
Yeah.
at least down there. And so, and then people are just showing up to the courts. You have a text group, you have that community in your text group, like, hey, let's go. And then they're showing up on a daily basis, like getting that physical exercise, like they're doing squats, working those muscles. I'm sure it helps prevent falls. I know there's a lot of injuries from pickleball with people moving their bodies, but at the same
Yeah.
time, look at all the movement happening and they're getting
Right.
up off of their couches. So that's another thing that tickled my my little
Yeah.
wellness loving heart. Anyway.
Yeah. I mean, and it's important, like you mentioned, and I think a lot of people sort of just take that for granted is as we get older, as the importance of movement. And it's nice to have a game instead of always having to go like ride a bike or go for a walk. And you can get together with people and, you kind of have this, it's almost like this unique love of something that most people outside of it just can't comprehend, let alone us comprehending it at times. Because I'm like, what is this? What is going on with this game? But, you know, like you, I decided to go beyond just the game and start something. I started a channel, but it's one thing to play this game; it's another thing to take on a business. So, talk to me about you know moving from just player to, but now business owner and creator with the Picklehood, and obviously, hey, I'm digging the
Yeah.
digs that you can see the back of this shirt and the picture right over here, but great stuff. And this is just a very, by the way, very small glimpse of the amount of apparel they have. So, links in the description. We have a link up here as well. But yeah, how did you get into it?
Okay, first of all, that is so nice of you to say, and it is so fun to see you wearing the gear. Um,
It's
so
awesome. I love it.
I was thinking about this in preparation. It was really three things that came together all at once. You know how sometimes life just converges all at once and then it takes you in a direction you never expected?
Oh
Um,
yeah.
First of all, I put my husband through school by running a wedding and family photography business. And I
Oh,
like mine was like everything I did was second. His was like the main gig, like that was the
sure.
goal. And so I did it on nights and weekends. And so he'd be studying late at night and I'd be editing up all night, like late into the night. And so a couple years ago, I just got burnt out completely and was looking for a new direction. The second thing that happened was my kid. I've been a full-time caretaker for 10 years, basically, like watching the
Yeah.
kids during the day and photography at night. So they went into school and I had more time. And
Right.
I like to call it the mom back, like the mom comeback, like, holy cow, I get to choose what I want to be when I grow up. Like I could do
Right.
something with my degree or I could do something completely different. And so that opportunity was kind of looming there. And then enter pickleball at just the right moment where I was like, oh my gosh, look what it's doing as far as community and I don't know, togetherness. And then my husband
Yeah.
had to sign up for a tournament and we started practicing together. And then I was like, hey, this would be way more fun with matching t-shirts. And so, like I guess the inner creative in me, as you get older,
Yeah.
you learn a lot about yourself. So I have the exercise and wellness degree, but then you learn later, like I'm more of a creative. Like I wish I would have done
Sure.
this.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh, I can do both. And so several tournaments in, I made this shirt and our pickle, I call it the Picklehood, our Picklehood, like our little network, our little group down in
Yeah.
Carlsbad, that little tiny town, they fell in love with it. And they're like, how can I get this shirt? Can you make us one? And then having designed several shirts for these tournaments, I was like, how can I share this? And so I sat on this for several months. And then I hit this low point where it was like, something has to change. I have to have
Mhm.
something for me. Like, yes, I could stay home with the kids a little longer, but this moment happened, and I read a book. The book is You Are a Badass.
Oh,
And,
I like the
um,
title.
it's a lot about affirmations and believing in yourself. And I think I had
Yeah.
talked to myself in my brain so negatively for so
Hmm.
long. It's helped me start to believe in myself, that I could do something, and believe in myself, to take a chance on myself and move in the direction that my heart wanted to go, like what that
Yeah.
felt right. And as I was reading this book and those things were bouncing around in my brain, and realizing how lost I get in design and love designing and creating, it just felt right. And then um enter my kid still had about 6 more months, and like before he went to school, and reading these books, I was like, I'm gonna get up at 5 a.m. and I'm gonna do my little morning routine, and then I'm gonna work so hard until he gets up, and then I'm gonna like schedule a little bit of time where he goes to like preschool, and I get that little 4 hour window, and then I'm going to work so hard. And it was exhausting.
Yeah.
In that window of time, I was able to learn how to build a Shopify and the back business, and get a little bit better at designs. Like, you can tell my early designs versus my more recent designs. And
Sure, sure.
I'm learning that you just kind of trust the process, the process of growth. Like, I'm coming from 10 years of running on my kids' schedule. And now I'm like,
Right.
here I am, like, you know what? I need to manage social media. I need to manage my website. I need to send emails. I need to run Facebook ads. And
Yeah.
I have the funniest story about how I landed. Well, it's two stories in one about how I ended up with my name. So we can get into
Okay.
it now or later, whatever you
No,
prefer.
no, let's do it.
So I was in this little frantic hyper focus phase, of getting up at 5 a.m. and being like, what should my name be? It has to be a really good name, right? And so I landed on, okay, I'll do Positive Pickleball. I'd like kind of looked at other names. And when you go to GoDaddy and you're looking up names, it's like, dang, every pickleball name is taken.
Yeah, I know.
And so I landed on Positive Pickleball, and I looked it up, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's available. And so I bought it as fast as I could, and I was like, okay, sweet. And so I spent like months after that building this website and this brand around the idea of Positive Pickleball. And so once I was ready to link them, you know how you can build it and then you link a website to
Yeah.
the URL. I went in, I was like, something is wrong. It's not connecting. What is wrong? And I went in and looked, and I bought Positive Pickleball, and I left out the
Oh,
I. And after months of this, I just cried.
oh, I
I
would
was
too.
so sad. And I went into my husband and I told him, and he started laughing. He was sympathetic. And then
Yeah, I
I
know, but
started laughing too. It helped like ease it a little bit. I was like,
yeah.
it. Um,
Uh,
and so I was like, okay, on to a new name. So I did like Positive Pickleball Shop for a little bit, but
yeah.
then I was creating my first collection for like that. I was ready to put my site live, and I was creating my first collection. It was right around Father's Day. And I found this shirt, like Welcome to Fatherhood. And I was like, that's kind of a cool idea. And it had this little skeleton hand like
Oh,
this.
yeah.
And I was like,
Great.
oh, I like that. And I was like, how can I turn this to pickleball? And I was like, well, like fatherhood, picklehood. And I was like, wait, hold on. It was like one of those moments. I was like, ding, ding. And it was like pickleball and the community is kind of like a picklehood, like a
Right.
brotherhood and a sisterhood, fatherhood, and a little neighborhood. You have your like gathering area that you gather in. And so I was like, oh my gosh, the picklehood. And so I listed that and I ran ads to it. And it was my first design that I think really connected with people, and people started
Yeah.
buying it. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's working.
Yay!
Like, I can run this business. Like, it's gonna work out. And so I sold it. I was like, okay, thinking about it, man, people really resonated with that idea. And so that's when I was like, you know what? I really like, I'm kind of bummed that Positive Pickleball didn't turn out, but I think I really like the idea of the picklehood
Yeah.
and that like connection there, and just the idea of it. So that's did a whole branding change on that, and that's where
Wow.
I am.
Yeah, I mean that's an amazing story, man. In the hills and valleys of it, and you know what I think probably helped when you had that low point is positive affirmation. And really, that's a thing I find a lot in this sport is people tend to. I think it comes out in this game. People tend to beat themselves up on the court sometimes, and they don't think they're necessarily worthy of whatever. But it seems to me that if people can sort of really sort of build their self esteem up and kind of work on their and show themselves that they have some value, and then play this game, I think it takes a whole new spin. Um, because I know I play with people who are very tough on themselves, and they don't necessarily have the same experience that I'm having
Mm,
sometimes because um, they make the game a part of their struggle when it could be something that adds to their value. And I think you've done that obviously, and you've taken it even a step further by building something that obviously adds value to not only the pickleball community, but your own family and your own self as well. So I think it's amazing stuff.
thank you. That brings to mind a moment. It's amazing the lessons you can learn from pickleball.
Sure.
It brings to mind a moment that meant a lot to me because I am one of those players that gets on the court and I don't care if we're winning or losing. I want to be playing good, and you have your
Right,
normal
right. Sure.
off days. Well, with my struggle with motherhood and not being able to get to the courts as much as I wanted, because sometimes it just wasn't worth the battle to like make it
Right.
happen. But we had a father figure in that Carlsbad community. And I was playing with him after having not been for a while, and he could tell I was getting frustrated with myself. And he said the thing that gave me so much grace. He said, you're just shaking the rust off. And like
Yeah.
that was just the simplest little phrase, like not too serious, but you're just shaking the rust off. You've got it. It'll come back.
Yeah.
And to
Yeah.
me, like that was such a good moment for me. Every time I go to pickleball courts, I think of that phrase. And even
Yeah.
now, as I'm growing this, I'm like, okay, I'm having my little mom back. I'm like
Right.
finding who I am again. And I'm just shaking the rust off and I'm gonna have that energy. I'm gonna get better at these things. So
Right.
um
Right. I think that's
life
important to
lesson.
have something. Yeah, it's something to remind you. My reminder line is when I'm getting frustrated playing is this is just a silly wiffle ball game, Mike. Get over it.
Oh, I love that too, because sometimes things can get taken a little too seriously, and it's okay. I
Yeah,
just
because at the end of the day, we're
all
whacking
it is.
around a ball that's got holes in it.
Oh, another story, just super, super fast. It was that father figure. Man, some people walk into your life and you're like, wow, who
Right.
are
Right.
you? But it was a local tournament, and me and my partner were playing him and his partner, and I had lost to her the day before in the women's final. And so I
Oh.
was a little bitter. And so right
Yeah.
before this final, he said, and so I was like, I'm gonna win this. But right before this, he was like, at the end of the day, like before we start this game, I just want to like you guys to remember at the end of the day, we're still
Right.
friends above everything else. And I was like,
Yeah.
I love that. He's like, doesn't matter what happens in this game, we're still friends above everything else.
Right.
And I was like, you know
Right.
what? I love that. And so
Yeah.
we won. Just kidding. We did. We won, but it was just
Yeah.
so good. We hugged afterwards and it
Yeah.
was just fun. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
And that's what it's all about. And that right there probably summarizes best Picklehood, the
Yeah.
community of it. And at the end of the day, we're all still friends and we all come together because of this game. But, we know what's important when this is
Yeah.
all said and done. So
Yeah.
that's great. I appreciate your time, Trisha. And obviously, I love the gear and appreciate it. Thank you very much. Links in the description. Amazing. It's actually tough to choose. There's so much cool stuff. So
Oh, you're
choose
so
choose a
kind.
great deal of stuff. And then you won't be disappointed at all because you'll have all the stuff you love. And before we let you go, anything you're looking forward to with the business coming 2025?
I've tried to think a lot about that. I have personal goals and business goals. Personally,
Sure.
I just need to find more balance because my brain is like pickleball all the time, and I'm
Yeah.
still balancing motherhood. But the Picklehood is all about community. And so what I want to do is create a community space online on Facebook, maybe. I want to get it the right angle, but to create some sort of actual community where we can talk. I can share some of the latest designs and they can like comment on what they want.
Yeah.
But I also just want it to be a space where we can gather and share these little life lessons that we learn from pickleball, you know.
Sure.
What else? The other thing, one of the main reasons I got my start in like in this space was the tournament shirts. And I
Okay.
think I'm going to try to put out more tournament shirts, man,
Yep.
consistently. Just to like keep that fun, like matching team shirts. Like
Yeah, I agree.
I love creating the apparel and the gifts because I feel like it's connecting us further. And I just want, like, I don't know. I want to see this thing keep going. I want to see it keep
Yeah.
growing. I want to keep seeing connections and meaningful relationships and friendships happen. And I feel like gifting helps with that. And if I create something that resonates with someone, like seeing you wear that is like bringing me so much
Yeah.
joy, and I want to spread joy through what I'm creating with my random ideas. You should see the list on my phone with all of the silly phrases that I've been thinking of. Like,
But that's where the magic happens.
yeah, that's how the magic happens. So, yep, there it is.
Right on. Right
Uh,
on. Well, again, thank you, Trisha. I appreciate it. And obviously, all the stuff you need in below. Um, the Picklehood, great company, obviously, great owner. And thanks for the merch. I really appreciate it. And I'll wear it proudly.
this means so much to me. So, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate
You
it.
bet.
Hope you enjoyed our conversation with Trisha Shelley from the Picklehood. Great gear. Check out the website. Plenty to go through and find something that fits your style or taste. All right, folks, you know what to do at the end of the day. Hey, hey, let's pickle.